absolutely ridiculous. They'll believe anything. They'll believe anything.
Hello everyone, welcome to No Idea channel. Yeah, Richard, I like CrossFit sports, and I joined the class last year, and it's very interesting because we do lots of weight training and cardio lab, but there is no only just about the exercising class. They also invited physical therapists to our class.
To the gym.
To the gym,
That's
like
pretty cool.
every month.
Okay.
Why? Because it's necessary for us. Because during the training, we all want to challenge ourselves and do more. But when we do that, it almost like above a little bit our limit, so we get hurt. I remember I heard many times, when I do squat, it hurts my knees. Yeah, because it's really heavy, and if my knees didn't put on the right position, you will feel pain.
Yeah.
And I heard my lower back many times about deadlift. Yeah, so it's really struggling. But so I went to the physical therapist many times, and I think it's my God, because
Your God?
because it helped me immediately after I went to see them. After 1 week, nothing happened.
Sure.
So do you have the similar experience?
With the gym? I mean, I used to do 5x5. Do you know 5x5? You
No.
do like 5 sets of 5 reps, and you just do 3 exercises when you go to the gym. They're 2 different workout days, and you do it 3 times a week. And I've never been that strong in my entire life. Like, I really got strong. I was trying to do this thing called the Thousands Club. The Thousands Club is your squat, your deadlift, and your bench press. If you add the 3 numbers, your highest numbers, it should make 1,000 pounds.
Oh,
And I got up to about 930, 940, and then I stopped. I got hurt, and I had to stop. But I really resonate with what you're saying, though, because if your knees hurt, it's because your technique is bad.
the position or your skill
So
doesn't do it right.
what I would find is that you go up, and once you get to your plateau, it's often a technique problem. So then you have to drop the weight and then work on your technique. And once you fix the problem, then you try and go up with the weight again. And then normally, once you fixed it, you can do heavier.
Yes.
And then you find the next problem in technique.
Oh, another level.
Sure. And I definitely did hurt myself a few times, because as you're learning about your technique problems, you get hurt. So I hurt my lower back a few times, but it always kind of healed. It wasn't too crazy.
So how do you...
Well, I heard it, and it would take a few weeks, and it would get better. I might go to a doctor or take some medicine. But those problems with my back actually got a lot better. I think the biggest thing that I learned from those was to not do anything. I know it sounds funny.
Not do anything? Oh.
Yeah, so back problems that I had back then, what I would do is, let's say I went camping, and I'd carry something, and then I'd feel something a little bit off with my back. I'm sure anybody who's ever hurt their back knows this. The day it happens, you often don't feel too much. You just feel like a light pain.
A little bit weird.
And then the next day is when you know how bad it is. But what I would always do is, for the first day, even the second day, I could feel that I'd done something funny. So I'd start stretching. So I'd bend over and try and hang and touch the floor. And I'd do this many times in the first 1 or 2
some
days.
Easy stretching.
Yeah, not always that easy, but try and see if I could fix it in some strange way by stretching.
Okay.
And I'd also rub. I'd put my hand behind my back, and I'd rub the area where I could feel.
Right.
But after having a lot of back problems, the lessons I learned from this is really don't do anything. Don't stretch. Don't rub, especially for the first 1 to 3 days. Because I think that I made it way worse. Because sometimes in my back, I used to think it was like a knot in the muscle that I could massage out. But then later on, a doctor explained to me that there was actually a ligament, and me pressing and massaging the ligament made the pain way worse and made the recovery take much longer. And as well, if you do a lot of stretching, like in your normal life, you aren't stretching your back that much. But now you've hurt yourself, and now you've put extra pressure on your back by doing all the stretching. It's no wonder it's going to get worse.
Oh.
So now when I feel like I've done something a bit funny to my back, I just do nothing. I might do some ice for the first 2 days and then heat, and maybe take some muscle relaxants and some anti-inflammatories. And I tell you something, now that I've learned to do this, when I have those small injuries, they get way better, way quicker than they ever did before, just because I've learned that sometimes doing nothing is way better than doing something.
Okay.
Yeah. So for anybody who ever has these types of things, really trust me on that. For the first 2-3 days, don't do crazy stretching and massaging. Wait to assess the situation. Wait to see what it is like, because you'll feel how severe that problem is. Because often balancing becomes hard when you've hurt your back, especially if it's your lower back, and you'll be able to feel like, can I walk freely but I have pain, or is walking difficult, or sometimes just standing is really difficult. So you'll be able to check the intensity.
That's serious.
I've had that where for weeks I could hardly walk.
I think it's better to go to the doctor immediately, right? If your belly couldn't stand.
You can, but you see, the problem is there's very little they can do for you. So you shouldn't rest too much when you hurt your back, because if you rest for too long, you'll weaken the muscles, and then it'll add more problems. So walking is really good, but not the first 2 or 3 days. And if you go to the doctor, all they're really going to do generally is give you muscle relaxants and anti-inflammatories, right? So they're not going to operate in your back. So there's very little that they can actually do to help you most of the time. I'm assuming if you saw a chiropractor, these guys who do the adjustments, they can help, but I still think...
You mean the Gongfu Clinic, 国术馆?
So in Taiwan, you get these guys called masters. Whereas in the West, you get someone called a chiropractor. And a chiropractor is kind of very specialized, where those masters do a little bit of the chiropractor, a little bit of physiotherapy.
Yes.
So I've heard great things about the masters, but when it comes to my back, I don't really want to take a lot of risks. So I'm not saying don't see a doctor.
Yeah.
Like by the next day after, because the first day you normally don't feel bad. The next day, if you like cannot walk, obviously go to a doctor. But the next day, if it's a bit painful and you can still walk around, you probably, from what I know, and I'm not giving anybody medical advice, I'm just sharing after having hurt my back so many times, you can probably learn to diagnose yourself. So like for me, when I hurt my back now, I very rarely go to a doctor. And when I do, I know exactly why I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But lots of stretching when you don't normally stretch, and lots of rubbing made it works all the time for me. Yeah.
Oh, from my experience, every time I hurt my lower back, and I went to the physical therapist, they are not only just help me to relax, but they also told me adjust why this is happen, and most of the time, where hurt doesn't mean they have problems. Like my ass position may not right. That's why it creates the lower back problem. Sometimes a knee problem or the feet problem.
Sure, but I think those things you want to fix when you're kind of okay.
Yes, it's just
not when you've just hurt yourself and try and fix your position. That's not always a good thing, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I have to, like, when I have little bit sense of it, I need to try to adjust it immediately, or otherwise it will become a huge problem later. And
describe that for me. So what is that exactly? So like, is this when you've hurt yourself? So you've hurt yourself, your back is sore, and they need to adjust it straight away?
I feel like my lower back hurt. Like I already took 2 weeks rest.
Okay, well, no, then sure. I'm talking about the first 2 to 3 days. When it's like chronic, when you've just heard it.
I don't do anything.
Yeah, but after 2 weeks, even less than 2 weeks, then you can start going, depending on how serious it is. But I'm more meaning those first 2 days, 2 to 3 days.
Oh, you mean what I do?
No, just once you've hurt yourself, the first 2 or 3 days after that, you really need to assess the situation and just do nothing. unless it's too serious that you've got to see a doctor because you literally can't walk. But as I say, the mistakes that I made was just too much in the beginning, trying to fix it when it was already hurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which didn't really work. So, and it's been amazing. Like, now that I'm doing it, like, I had a scare where I felt like I hurt my back. And the next morning, I could feel, it's hard to walk and everything. It just did nothing, really. Or sometimes took just a little bit of muscle relaxants, anti-inflammatories, but just left it. And like the following day, way better. Whereas in the past, when I did all the stretching and rubbing, it would just get worse every single day because I was messing with it and making it worse.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that was huge for me. To learn that was a really important thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how to prevent it could not happen? Like,
well, you talk about gym injuries.
Yes.
And I was also talking about like injuries picking something up. But the one that I've had recently, has been the worst experience of my life. Because it's been about a year. I'm much better now, but herniated disc. So if you have the bones in your spine, and in between each bone, you have like a pad, which is there to help for shock absorption. So sitting too much makes the bones push together and squeeze that pad, and then sometimes the stuff will leak out of that pad.
Oh, you mean they're not really flexible?
Or it will burst and it will leak. Stuff will come out of it. And depending on where the leak happens, it can put pressure on your nerve. So about a year ago now, I was in this office, and all of a sudden my left butt cheek just felt painful. And I didn't think this was a back problem. I just thought it was a butt problem. So I did exactly the same stupid thing. I started doing body weight squats in this office.
Okay.
Every time I stood up, I would do 10 squats.
You think it might be help to do some exercise?
So I just started doing, from a guy who wasn't doing any squatting to doing body weight squats, but doing like 100 to 200 squats a day. I mean, it's mental, right? So stupid to do that. And then from there, the pain started going down my leg and went into my calf.
Wow.
So now I had a sore butt, sore leg, sore calf. And then I thought I would take a trip to the south of the island. So I drove for like 6 hours. And I thought, all right, I'll take the pain. And by the time I get down there, I'll have a week there to relax. Because I imagined a week would be enough to make me feel better, which is also stupid. But all that driving definitely made it worse. And when I got down there, I did the same stupid thing. So I got a tennis ball and I started stretching because I was in such pain. So stretching. And I could hardly move. I couldn't sit. I couldn't do anything. Yes. But I was somehow getting onto the floor. And my left leg was doing this. It was spasming by itself.
Okay.
So I got my girlfriend and she was helping me stretch, and I was sitting on this tennis ball all the time and then moving the tennis ball. But again, just overdoing all of the stretching. And it got worse and worse. And then we thought we wouldn't be able to come back and drive back because I had to do the driving. But eventually I did. I took a lot of painkillers. Like I took like a whole cart, way more than you're supposed to take. But I drove us back from the bottom of the island.
Wow. Maybe at this time you wish you have Tesla.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So it just got worse and worse. And like thinking a week was going to be enough was because I didn't know what problem it was. But
because
now,
you think normally we're thinking 1 week vacation should really help rest.
Yeah. So then I told you my leg would spasm like that, so we drove back and I had to kind of keep my leg straight like this. So I used the muscles in the leg so much just to help me get home that I was so stiff when I got back. And I started seeing the physio. And I learned so much about this type of a problem because it's not a quick thing to get better. So for months, I had treatment. Sometimes I was going every single day, sometimes twice a day for acupuncture, for physiotherapy.
Okay.
But nothing really worked. So like the physio guys would use the ultrasound on one place in my leg that was painful. And then the next day, that place would be good and another place would be painful. And the pain would just move day to day to a different place.
But no one knows what it comes from.
Oh no, they were telling me that there was a herniated
just like
disc.
a spine.
But then often with a herniated disc, they can feel on your back and they can feel where it's happened. And they couldn't feel that with me. So they didn't know if it was this problem or just a muscle problem.
Okay.
But eventually we figured out that it was this problem.
All right.
And just nothing works. There's like literally nothing that you can do. Painkillers did nothing. Occasionally some muscle relaxants helped. And last week, Sunday, I went to Costco with my fiance.
Okay.
And we had to get up on a Sunday. And these days, when I get up in the morning, I'm stiff. It takes a while for my body to warm up. And I got up and I shouted to her. I was like, hey! And she said, what? I said, it's amazing. She said, what's going on? I was like, I put on my underwear. And she's like, what? Like, what's wrong? I said, yeah, I put on my underwear. She's like, why are you telling me this? And I said, because actually, for the last year, in the morning, you know how I put my underwear on? I hold the underwear in one hand, bend down, try hook it on one foot, then pull it up my leg, change hands, hold down, hook the other foot.
Oh my God, you're like...
Literally, I've been doing this for a year. And last week, Sunday, was the first time I was able to just bend and put my underwear on in a year.
Oh my God. It's like...
Like, that's how ridiculously bad it got. I've
milestone.
never in my life been through anything like this. And for most of this year, I didn't think it was ever going to get better. I didn't think I'd be able to make a complete recovery. My grandmother was saying, look, you just maybe need to get used to this for the rest of your life.
But
So,
during the past of year, it's like your normal life change.
completely.
You couldn't do lots of
couldn't
things,
lie
right?
on my
Because you
stomach.
couldn't bend.
Couldn't lie on my stomach.
You couldn't lie on
On
your
my
stomach.
stomach, probably. I did.
You
but
couldn't sleep like
I
face
tried.
on
It would get better. Like, it would be initially lying down would be hard, but then it would get better. But just everything. So I've been in my office here, like I bought the standing table, so started standing
you
for
can
half
move
the
in
time
the height,
and
change
sitting.
the height.
I think that's been the best thing because that's, I think, helped the root cause, which was sitting too much
Yes.
at work. And that's why now it feels like it's been an upward trajectory, but it's been going up and down, but still overall uphill. Yeah, so now I can walk and I can sit in the car again, but for months, like,
But that's
really, I'm telling
crazy.
anybody, be careful about sitting. They say it's the new smoking, the new diabetes, whatever it is, be careful about sitting, because if it gets to this point and you get the herniated disc in the wrong place and you get the pain down your leg,
all right.
my relationship with pain is so different now because I didn't realize a person could feel that much pain.
And you think your life probably will change forever.
I mean, yeah, like you have a cloud hanging over your head because you think, how am I ever going to have a kid or pick up my kid? How am I ever going to do sport? Because I always played a lot of sports. Am I ever going to be able to play sport again?
Okay, but hopefully things are getting better.
Yeah,
My
luckily,
God.
right? So luckily it's getting better and I can do a lot of stuff. It's not completely better because I still have a bit of pain.
Okay,
but,
right.
It seems to be at the end part. But it changes because even now we've been sitting here for 2 hours. Like my ass is dead. Like there's no feeling.
Right now, it's no
right
feeling.
now, but I'm getting used to it. You know, like it's just like a new thing that you've got to kind of get used to. So if I sit for long, I try and balance it out. But I go for a walk and I try to stand. So I try just not. I try to make sure I don't sit all day like I used to because I didn't know. I wish I'd had someone who told me because I sat in a nice comfy chair and life was great until it happened, and then oh my God, like
I have a similar problem, but it's not that serious. Like during the May to July, we have a level 3 restriction lockdown, and so I have to work from home.
Yes.
But in my home, I don't have the proper chair and table, so I kind of position like a guru and doing my job like for over like 8 to 10 hours.
Like a guru.
like a guru and do the things on. And like the first week, totally fine. But after like 2 to 3 weeks, I still feeling something wrong with my back.
Yeah.
And I try to adjust it immediately. Like, okay, I bought a higher chair, table, and buy ergonomics
The chair.
chair.
Yeah, I think it's
better.
ergonomic.
Ergonomic chair. And I went to physical therapist. Then I feel better. I think, oh my gosh.
Sure. So there was a study done in the past where, I don't know if you remember the old buses. So in the old days, there would be two people working on a bus. The one guy was the driver and the other one is the conductor. So he'd walk up and down and he had a little machine and he would turn and he would give like a little receipt. So when you paid, he would give you a piece of paper, like your little receipt. So because the drivers sit, and they have nice comfy chairs as well, those buses, but because the drivers sit all the time and the conductor walks all the time, it was a really good science experiment to do to follow these people. And what they found was, over long term, the conductors had way better health than the drivers. The drivers had all of the chronic problems with health. And it was like every single person, it was like across the board it happened. And they showed how bad it is for you to sit all day.
Sit too long.
Yeah, even if you have a comfortable chair and all this.
Oh my God, so it's a warning sign for me.
Yeah, that's why, as I said, for me, when this problem happened, I know when it started because I've done this business for like 5 years now. And even though, like you, I'd hurt my back doing exercise, something changed when I started doing this business and I started sitting. Because before that, I used to teach a lot of English and I used to sell wine. So I was always like up and down.
Right.
But then when I started this business, it was sitting. And all of a sudden, the back problems started happening more and more frequently. And it's like the frog in the water. You don't realize it. And then one day, like you think of a memory from like 2 years before and you look at it and you say, wow, like I could do so much more with my body 2 years ago, and you realize it. So now that I've had the standing table, as I say, it's been an uphill. I kind of feel like I'm getting to the root cause and I can possibly make a full recovery. Because I just saw how downhill everything went just from all of that sitting.
No.
And like I say, if someone had told me this, I would have, and actually I don't even know if it's true. I don't think somebody could honestly have explained how much pain I would have felt. Because like I've never, even now I can't believe it. Like it was insane. Like I ride my scooter to work. I mean, I'd get on the scooter and the whole way to work.
Even couldn't ride a scooter.
Nothing. I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't even get in the car. Because as I'd get in the car, my leg would start freaking out by itself and the muscles would start like spasming.
I remember at that time, you even couldn't stand, couldn't sit, and couldn't lay up.
Couldn't do anything, you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And my girlfriend is like 13 years younger than me. I just started making me worry. I was like, what is she going to stay with me if I'm like an old man? I'm 40, I was 41 at the time. Like, or maybe I should tell her to leave, I thought like, tell her to find someone else who can like live a full life with her, because obviously I'm not going to be good enough, you know. Like I really thought about this stuff. You know, it was the worst thing ever.
Oh my God.
You know, like, so.
That's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, so that's really what I would say to people. You know, every single guy I know who's over 30 has had some kind of a lower back issue. Every single one. It seems particularly for men, lower back. And you don't want to go through what I did. So if you hurt yourself in the gym, trust me, first 2-3 days, just put some ice and just assess. Don't do crazy stretching. But way more importantly, the sitting. If you're someone who sits a lot every day, be aware, because I used to feel like I was Superman. I used to do sport like 6 days a week. I told you I was doing the gym. I was trying to do that thousands club. I was like heavy squatting. You know, and there's nothing wrong with heavy squatting. But as soon as I started sitting a lot, things went downhill. Yeah, like mad.
Like even sitting more haunts your body than doing exercise.
Sure. And, you know, and then you start to think about exercise. It's a privilege to be able to exercise, because when it gets taken away from you, like I've hardly exercised for a year. From someone who used to exercise a lot, it's been awful. Because, you know, exercise increases your mood, makes you feel better. You can stay in shape. So it also affects your ego, and it affects how you see yourself.
Okay.
You don't want to go through this.
you have a chance to be a next Hopkins. The famous scientist who sitting in the wheelchair.
Oh, yes,
Hopkins,
yeah.
right?
No, it's not. What is his name? Hawkins.
Hawkins.
Yeah. Oh, please no! Don't wish that on me. No. I'm making a complete recovery. I really am, at least I can feel that now. Like, it's just been the last month or so where I've started to feel that, hey, it might be possible to one day squat again and play golf again. Because all these things that I love, I haven't been able to do. I used to love playing squash. Like, you play squash 4 or 5 times a week. Right. To have that taken away has been one of the hardest things.
Yes.
And just from what? From sitting.
Just sitting.
Something stupid
something
like sitting.
Really
right?
easy, and people think it's a comfortable position.
Yeah.
But okay, it really reminds me, because my work needs to sit a long day. I can sit on a chair like a...
Sure. See, what you can do is just like every hour or every 40 minutes, stand up, walk up and down.
I work to take water and try
And for anyone who can get a standing desk, it's been amazing for me. Although I will tell you that when I stand for the first, every client who comes, I stand for the first hour, sit for the second. After standing for an hour, I don't feel good, but I know it's good for me, but it's hard. Standing for an hour is not easier. Because actually they say it's not just standing, you need to move around.
Yeah. Moving around is much easier, but if you're just standing there, it's just like...
And standing too much is bad too.
Oh, it's better to moving around to different...
Sure. So now I try to, if I can, go for a walk every day. Also sit and stand. And it seems to be working. It's not perfect, but it definitely seems to be improving, which is great. So. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, when we talked about doing this segment, we thought it was important because... it's different to some of the stuff we normally talk about. But really, if it's something we can really help people with, it's this. Trust me, avoid this. Because I think once you get it, it just takes so long for it to improve.
Yeah, even though we think it might be easy to recover, but since not, the sitting will cause you a more serious and more like a more hidden harmful thing.
And when I heard it in the gym and like bending like this was really hard and I could hardly walk, I thought that was terrible. Actually, that's not that bad.
It's nothing.
like when you've gone through the other one, the herniated disc thing, if you get that pain from the nerve, it's watertian. It's something that you cannot imagine.
I wish my mom could watch this because she always worry about me doing some weight training. But
actually, weight training is pretty good. Like I've followed
strong my muscle. I
followed some people on the internet because doctors weren't really able to help me with this too much.
Yes.
Like they had their treatments and things, and I actually got a lot more help by seeing some guys who had the same problem, who then made a blog about it. Because if you have this and it's a minor one and it gets better in like a month or two, it's one thing. But if you get the longer term one, it's very little that you can do. So you learn all these kind of little tricks. And so I've had to change everything. Like when I get out of bed, I roll out of bed. When I put my underwear on, I have a special way of doing that. And the worst part is that you stop trusting your body. So for a long time, like I didn't know if I wanted to pick something up, if I could do it, because I thought I pick it up, I might hurt myself. So the best part recently is starting to regain confidence, be able to pick something up, like, okay, I can pick it up, because every move that I did, I had to start thinking about it.
Be able to believe yourself.
Without having to think about it. Because can you imagine how shitty it is to everything you want to do, you have to stop before you do it. And think, is this right? Yeah.
Oh, you have to test it first.
Yeah, like you don't know, and you think, shit, what am I going to do if this doesn't work? Whereas now I'm not completely out of it, but now if I want to do something, I'm reasonably confident that I can do it. And that's been a great feeling to get back.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hope you get back soon.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to go and start trying to just on my own go to the squash court and just hit the ball around. Even that's going to be, it's going to be so good. Yeah, just to hit the ball be fantastic. So
nice.
So yeah, please, if that helps anybody, I hope so. You can drop us a comment. If you're going through this, and you need a little bit of advice, please let me know, because yeah, as I say, people shared their opinions with me, and I'd more than happy to share any kind of tips or anything, because I know how it feels to be at the bottom of that hill.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, or if you have any similar experience, you can share to us.
Yeah.
So
just
that
write it in the comments.
so people can avoid the kind of a situation.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So Saturday afternoon, the weather's good. Let's get out of here and let's go and enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.